Okay, so for this example over here, we're going to be using the trim of Power Query. And in this one, we have this table of names. So you could see here we have a number of names. So if you scroll down, there's around 60 names. And our goal is to get the counts of each name. And we're going to be doing that through pivot tables. Okay, so what I'll do right now is let's go to Insert and go straight to pivot table. So let's just use a new worksheet and go OK. Right. So I'll just drag the names to rows and let's get the count of each name. And if we look here, there's something that looks odd at the moment. If we have a look at Arlene, there's going to be 2 rows of Arlene's over here. And that's not what we're expecting, because we would expect the Arlene's here to be combined to a single entry and the count would be 3. So if we go for a deeper look here, if we look here at the Arlene, okay, no spaces over here. But if we check the second Arlene, you could see that there are spaces at the very end. So which means we need to do some data cleanup before this is going to be useful for us. So let's go back here and let's use Power Query on how we can trim the extra spaces so that once we redo our pivot table, we're going to have clean results. Okay. So to be able to do this in Power Query, let's go to Data, make sure you selected your table, and let's select From Table. And once we do that, what's going to happen is the Query Editor window will open, and our data will also be placed in there. So we need to see the entire names table to show up inside. Okay, so now we can see the Query Editor window running and loading, so we could see our table as well here. So if we scroll down, we should see the 60 names as well over here. Okay, so now it's looking good at the moment. So the next thing is let's go to Transform, and then let's see on where our trim method would be. So let's go to Format, and then you could see here that the trim functionality is in here. So what we can do here is just make sure that the column is selected, which is already highlighted at the moment. Let's go straight to Format, select Trim, and then you could see as well on the steps, you could see that it's trim text over here because that's what we did at the moment. And now we have our clean data. And once you're happy with the results, just go back to Home and then select Close and Load. So let's do that. And now what Power Query will do is our results will be loaded in a new worksheet. And to see if we can do the same pivot table, let's go again to Insert, Pivot Table. Now based on this data over here, the clean data, let's create a new worksheet. Right, and then let's do the same thing over again. Let's drag the names to rows and then get the count of the names by placing it inside values. And you can see here that Arlene now is clean because you could see that there's only 1 Arlene that's being showed up in the pivot table and the count is 3, which means all of the data over here is already clean. But the next question right now is, what if our table, right, gets a new set of names, like gets additional names in here? So for example, what I'll do is let's go back here to the original data. Okay, so what I'll do is let's just copy a bunch of names. So let's just highlight this one. I'll copy and then let's just add the names in here. So the next question right now is, what do I need to do? Do I need to redo all of my steps in Power Query to clean the data and then do the pivot table again based on the new set of data? The answer to that is you don't need to do that over and over again. This is the beauty of Power Query because we've already defined our query. So if we go back here, so let's just go back to the results over here. And then since we already have our query, so you can see here, it's still 60 rows, right? So the beautiful thing with Power Query is you will be able to redo the same steps on your source data, even though your source data has been updated. So what we mean by that is let's just go here and then do a refresh. So for example, if you have this window closed, right, to be able to open that again, let's just go back to data, show queries, and you would be able to see all of the queries that you have created in Power Query. So what I'll do right now is I'll just do a refresh, and you can see here it's now 77 rows loaded and the new set of data is cleaned, which means the steps that it did or we did, right, in trimming, Power Query redid the same steps on your latest set of data, of source data. And if we go back here, If I just right click here and do a refresh, let's click refresh. You could see Arlene now is fine because we copy pasted a couple of Arlenes in here. But you could check as well that the data is clean because it's just a single Arlene and everything has been trimmed already. So that's the beautiful thing with Power Query is you just do a refresh and Power Query will just re-execute the steps without the need for you to redo the same thing over and over again.